Oh man, I love this song. This song's awesome, bro. This shit is fire. Yeah, it's the end of the song, and the song's fading out because it's the end of the song, and there's totally not a hidden secret in the.
2 hours later.
I'm about to come up.
What the hell was that? That was weird. Anyway, hidden tracks. As the name suggests, they're little ditties hidden at the ends of albums. Sometimes they're actual songs, sometimes they're little gags, and sometimes they're just weird, head scratching additions hiding in the crevices of a record. Hidden tracks are something we don't see a lot nowadays, so today I wanted to go through a bunch of strange or otherwise interesting hidden tracks in albums. Without further ado, let's get into it. Kicking things off, we've got the hidden track on Korn's self-titled debut, typically known as either Michael and Jerry or Dodge Dart. I prefer to call it Dodge Dart, it rolls off the tongue a bit better, but either name is fitting. More importantly is the contents in which it hides. So what exactly is this track hiding? Hopefully something a bit more chipper after a track like Daddy. It boils down to this 3.5-minute audio of two people named Jerry and Michael respectively arguing about a car, specifically a Dodge Dart, and why it won't start up. Gee, I guess that's where this track gets its names from. I have no clue who these people are, their relation to the band if any, or if this is just an audio from something, but I do know one thing. This hidden track is indeed a bit of a positive tonal shift after the roller coaster that is Daddy. We all know it's entertaining to watch people argue sometimes, and what better thing to listen to an argument over than a fucking Dodge Dart in a 1994 nu metal album. Of course the Dodge Dart broke down. The contrast between Daddy and this hidden track will never fail to amuse me, and that aspect alone, not to mention the silly subject matter, makes this a unique and memorable hidden track for sure. Next up, we've got the bonus poem after Acid Bath's Dead Girl from their album Pagan Terrorism Tactics. After a lengthy bit of silence, an eerie and disturbing poem reads out, very similarly to the track Old Skin. This poem gives off the same eerie, unsettling vibe of Old Skin, but has some drum action instead of that unsettling soundscape, perhaps making the bonus poem ever so slightly less eerie. However, the contents of the poem itself is still definitely on par with the grotesque, descriptive scenes Acid Bath paints, and the haunting similes paired with the dark crypticism in their music across both of their albums. What's also interesting is that some of the lines in this poem are little bits from lyrics across Pagan Terrorism Tactics, and even some callbacks to When the Kite String Pops. Overall, quite eerie stuff here hidden at the end of this record. Very on par with Dax Riggs' writing, and it's a creepy yet interesting take on a hidden track. Next up, we've got Joshua's Message from Mastodon's Blood Mountain. This hidden track is roughly a 50-second track of Josh Homme of Queens of the Stone Age, who does make an appearance on the album, reading what seems to be a fan letter addressed to Mastodon. However, this is a gag parodying a fan letter. It tells the story of a fan who pirated the album and sang on some Mastodon demos. Truth be told, before I actually heard this hidden track, I was under the impression that it was a legitimate fan letter. And then I heard the line, "Hope you guys don't mind me stealing the album," and I was like, hey, wait a minute. And upon further research, I found out the actual story behind this hidden track. And after learning more about it, I absolutely knew I had to mention it in this video. Even though it isn't a legitimate fan letter, it's still a super cool and unique take on a hidden track. It's a funny gag. I'm not sure if the 50 seconds of content is worth the quarter of an hour wait, but hey, it's still a neat hidden track regardless. Speaking of Queens of the Stone Age, we have a doozy for this next one. We're mixing it up a bit, as I'm going to be talking about a pre-gap track that's hidden before the start of an album, as opposed to a track hidden at the very end. The real Song for the Deaf, off of Songs for the Deaf, essentially acts as a track 0 to the album. Now, typically this is done on CD players, and it's rarely, if at all, seen on other forms of physical media for this album, if I'm not mistaken. It's easily found on streaming services, but what's cool is that on CD players you can access this track by rewinding the CD to about a minute and a half, and by doing so, you get this pre-gap track of a slight bit of banter before this weird bass frequency plays out. It's neat because it eventually leads up into the first real track of the album. And though for a song, it's not doing too much, I can't lie, this idea is so damn sick. The pre-gap bass line hidden in the CD leading into the first track is super creative, I can't help but love it. And if that wasn't enough, Songs for the Deaf also features a hidden track at the end of the album too. That being Mosquito Song, and it's a whole fleshed out track, just chilling in the dark corners of the album. I like Mosquito Song too, it's actually pretty good, so there's a plus. Super creative shit here, it's low-key absolute cinema. Up next, we have Analog Odyssey at the end of Beck's Mellow Gold. This track is almost 2 minutes of wacky sounds that I could only describe as either arcade machine noises or weird extraterrestrial shit.
Bogos Binted?
What?
Who knows what compelled Beck to do this? Maybe he's a fan of old school arcade games? Does he like Donkey Kong? That would be pretty chill. I like Donkey Kong. Given its nature though, it's no surprise it's a bonus track. It's not a track I'd sit around and wait for if I were listening to a physical copy, and I wouldn't seek it out on streaming services. But nonetheless, an Easter egg is an Easter egg, so I can't help but still be a little charmed by its inclusion, even if it doesn't otherwise offer much sustenance. It is also certainly a unique one, which is why I wanted to give it its own dedicated spot in this video. Wow, another Deftones entry in a Big Nanner video, who would have thought? That's right, we're talking about Bong Hit and Damone from Around the Fur. We got a bit of a package deal here. After several minutes of silence, we're graced with Bong Hit, a short little track of literally that. A bong hit. Who ripped it though? Chino? Steph? Shortly after that, we have a second hidden track that is a whole genuine serious song. That of course being Damone. Now, Damone is one that I've never been the hugest on. I've seen some people talk about how they love Damone. Now, I don't dislike Damone, but I fear it's simply outshined by many better tracks I'd rather listen to, several of which being on Around the Fur itself. It's still pretty cool though. I feel like a lot of hidden tracks are usually used to hide silly little gags, not fully fleshed out songs as much. But here Deftones are doing both, so that's pretty neat to see. Moving along to another nu metal debut, I've got Eeyore from Slipknot's self-titled album. This one is another pretty well-known one, I reckon. It starts with a little line of dialogue between a couple of Slipknot's members before going into this chaotic experimental track that both fits in with the vibe of the album but also stands out with just how disjointed and psychotic it all sounds. Not only musically, but with the seemingly random lyrics too. Feels like you're living in a psych ward or something. Well, they were definitely right in making it a hidden track because this is like the crackhead sitting outside the slightly upper class subdivision or something. But still a pretty unique hidden track nonetheless, thanks to the crazy nature of it. Water break, water. Up next, we have an absolutely diabolical one. Okay, this one's pretty funny actually, but still diabolical. We've got none other than Maynard's Dick.
What did he say?
From Tool's live album Salival. Alright, where do I even begin with this one? Maynard's Dick is a song, a real structured, complete, coherent song, but it's about, you know, Maynard's glizzy. And honestly, if this shit isn't the most Maynard James Keenan thing ever, I don't know what is. We're talking about the same guy who went out on stage, painted blue, and tweaked out. Yeah, Maynard is definitely no stranger to being a crazy little critter. The way this track is written is not like anything you'd see on your standard Studio Tool album experience, so it's pretty cool to see that juxtaposition between your typical Tool songs and this. You know, it almost sounds like something you'd hear on one of Maynard's other bands, but it's Tool, and, you know, Maynard's Dick, so that pretty much says it all right there. Moving on, we've got another pretty well-known one, this time by Green Day. However, the meaning behind it appears to be debated, or at least somewhat misunderstood, weirdly enough. I'm of course talking about All By Myself from Dookie. This track was written This track was written by Tré Cool. It's a pretty short but sweet song, and I was led to believe it was simply about robbing a house. That's pretty punk rock, so I guess I wouldn't be surprised. I'm sure Bradley Nowell would have been proud of Green Day for that one. However, interestingly enough, many sources say that this song is actually about a time Tré Cool was straight cranking it with headphones on, only to look up and find dinner at his bed. However, some fans have poked holes in this, noticing how this scenario is an old urban legend or something, so when Tré Cool was explaining the meaning behind the song, he was likely joking about its meaning. I mean, like I said, I've also heard it's about robbing a house, which I guess makes more sense, but even then, that kinda seems like a little bit of a stretch, maybe? I've also read that the track was about Armstrong's girlfriend at the time. What the fuck? Whatever the meaning is, I do doubt it's about Tré Cool cranking it. It's honestly not a bad little jingle. The guitar lick is nice and simple and easy to get behind. It almost makes me wonder if they could have fleshed it out and made it into an actual song for a record. Sure, they'd have to tweak it a bit, but some groundwork is there, I suppose. But alas, thanks to its silly contents and the buzz surrounding its meaning, it remains as a charming Easter egg, which is certainly enjoyable in and of itself. Last but certainly not least, we've got the hidden track from one of the most recognizable rock albums on the face of the planet, Nirvana's Endless Nameless from Nevermind. This track's weird. Apparently it was recorded after a failed take, which I could believe, because it basically encapsulates that vibe. Frustrated, disjointed, off the wall, so to speak. But then again, given the uncertainty surrounding the lore of some of these hidden tracks, I don't know what to believe anymore. It's got an uncomfortable vibe, but to be frank, I don't particularly enjoy sitting through this song because it feels drawn out and there's not really a whole lot going on to pull it together for me. But then again, it is a hidden track for a reason, eh? So I guess I can't be too hard on it. They were right in leaving it as a hidden track because if it was a regular track amongst the rest of the album, it would probably be one of those songs showing up on videos talking about weaker tracks on good albums or something. I won't lie though, it still is pretty charming that Nevermind has Endless Nameless, just out of association. Hidden tracks are fun. The contrast from the albums they're on is humorous to say the least, and artists can do whatever they want with them, so they can really get creative and do some cool, funny, or simply unique stuff like we've seen in this video. They're neat Easter eggs, what can I say? That's about all I've got for you today, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed. What do you think of these hidden tracks? As always, feel free to let me know, and while you're at it, tell me some of your personal hidden track highlights. But until next time, take care.